I don't know how to say this. I'm a little emotional about it, but I let the internet comments get to me, guys. I know. I said I would never do this. I said I would never change who I am for, the hate. But, holding back tears here. Here we go. I'm going to get rid of the smoke out of the turbo, maybe, if it works. But I let you guys get to me. Everybody talking about smoke out of my turbo, making me feel really bad about myself. It's been a tough week, after FL2K, people commenting about smoke out of a turbo. I understand there's not much going on right now in the world, and this is really important. So, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it for you guys. I'm gonna do it for us. I'm gonna do it for the visual cue of when I lit off the gas. Alpha likes it because he knows exactly where I lifted. But I'm gonna get rid of that so people don't know when I lift off the gas. So, I have a plan. I have two plans. Both are better for the car. The first one is kind of a little weird, I would say. A little out there. Not, probably not what people would assume I would do. But the second one is the pretty standard one, but I think they both have to be done to work well together. I don't have the parts for the second one fully, but I got the parts for the first one, and I'm gonna start on that right now. So, let me explain how this works. The smoke out of the turbo, I believe it's a mix of a lot of oil pressure up top, and then when I lift off the gas, there's a lot of crankcase pressure and a lot of oil pressure all at the same time as the engine is winding down, as it's not, consuming a bunch of oil. It's winding down at the top end, and then they meet in the center section of the Precision Turbo 86, 85, and they just have one direction to go at that point. Either the crankcase pressure overcomes the oil pressure through a little -4 line, or the oil pressure overcomes the crankcase pressure and it just goes right in. But the crankcase pressure still has to go somewhere, so it goes out they go out into the exhaust. Not really into the intake. I mean, it's not super dirty, but it's not like beautiful, but a little bit goes into the intake. A lot of it goes out of the exhaust that we can see. And that brings us to fixing it. So I have two ways I want to fix it. First, I'm going to get a TurboSmart oil pressure regulator. It's like a dampener. It's not really a regulator because you can't turn it down like a fuel pressure regulator, but it's like a little canister that goes in line on the oil feed, and it slows the pressure to 40 psi no matter what's going into it. It's always 40 psi. And then the second thing is a little weirder. This one might sound a little convoluted, I'll be honest. So the oil drain goes out of the turbo into the bottom of into the crankcase. But, it's higher than the oil line, so it kind of just goes down like this, but there's crankcase pressure that's going up that line into the bottom of the turbo. Oil pressure is going into the top of the turbo, like 115, 120 psi of oil pressure. So my first thing that we're gonna do is we're going to take the oil feed or oil return that comes out of the turbo, and we're going to Y it off at the crankcase, and I'm gonna send one to go way up into the catch can, into the back of the car, because that'll help two things. The crankcase pressure will have an easier exit. Instead of going towards the turbo seals, it'll go to the trunk of the car, the big catch can that I have. So it'll bleed off crankcase pressure, which will help my crankcase pressure, because you don't want a lot of crankcase pressure. You want to minimize it as much as possible. Some people do a deal where they put like a big line right off the oil pan, but there's a spot on these 2Js that mine is welded up, and we've just never, it has to come off to drill and tap it or something. So we've just never done that. Okay, here's my breather line. It feels really serious now once it has the heat shielding on it. No leaks. So the catch can now has 3 10ANs going into 2 12s. So at the firewall it goes into 12s, but one of them is wide right at the firewall. So I don't know how well this is gonna work. I talked to a couple people. We all have questions and concerns, but for what the car already has on it, being able to add that, that's the best I could come up with. So until the engine's out again, that's what we're gonna do. Action. Hey Bronte, hey. How you doing? We are here with Pewter F-Body Alpha and Pewter F-Body Beta. Yeah, sorry, sketchy. I just made that up on the spot and it sounded pretty cringe when I said it, but I'm gonna leave it in the editing room. There's some bicyclists behind us that are probably gonna be very loud today, so we probably won't be able to hear much of myself thinking or talking or anything.
Well, you better talk quick before.
Here we are. So Sketchy's over there messing with his parachute. I'm over here messing with everything. Did some changes as you guys saw, and we're gonna see if they work. Historically, changes that I've made have worked, but that doesn't mean, yeah.
I was thinking
Okay. Really fun when your wife is your biggest hater, but you know, we can overcome the haters together.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, she's not kidding. All right, well, we're gonna wait for some drag racing here and then go do something cool, hopefully. All right, my boy Sketchy Vert. Do a big burnout, dude. Oh, don't pop the clutch like that. It didn't make any boost last pass, but he's gonna data log at this one. He forgot to. I don't know if he's dripping something or somebody did. Might be him. I'll look when he goes by. Bad deal. Ten 50 at 98, so obviously having issues. That's a beautiful CTSV. Good for that guy. All right, back from BMP, and I only did one pass, and there's a whole story behind it. It's not just my normal one pass deal. There's actually a reason that I only did one pass, and it's a pretty good one, but I'll have some story time in a minute here. Gotta unload the Camaro, and I got some stuff to do on it because I think I'm gonna try to race it this weekend at the Florida No Time Out for Blood 4. They have a street style deal, but this man James Tall with his 240 is trying to race in the street style, so I may have to go pull a couple spark plug boots or something, you know, plug wires off there or something. I don't know, maybe like clip a couple impeller wheels off his turbo, something to slow him down, because that's just, it's not fair, dude. It's not fair out here on these streets. I need to protest and start crying about these no time rules and crying about these no prep rules. I need to start crying about rules more. So I'm gonna unload and sulk in my sadness. I'll explain in a little bit. All right, step 2 of making this thing not smoke like a choo-choo train is this feller right here. So this is from Turbo Smart. I got it from Induction Performance. It just came in today, so I didn't have to drive up there and get it. Shout out to those guys. And this goes in line onto your turbo feed line. So this is supposed to, you know, take any pressure that comes in and limit it to 40 PSI. I imagine it's some kind of like Tesla valve in there. I don't know for certain, but I'd be curious to know what the inside looks like. They used to have an old style that had a return, on it. So it like, you know, it was more like a fuel pressure regulator, but this one just self-regulates. So kind of cool. I'm curious how that would work in there, but I'm gonna screw this thing on, take it to the track this weekend and test it again, because you guys know how it rolls. Test, try things. What I tried last time did not work. I also realized that I didn't explain what happened last time I was at the track. So you guys know we were just at the track on Sunday for street heat, and I was going, or whatever, Saturday, something like that. Yeah, Saturday. So I was gonna make a second pass. I pulled up into the lanes. They give $500 to the fastest car on property. I lifted at the 8th mile. I went at 8.3. So I was like, okay, you know, the car probably has like a 770 tune-up in it easily. So I saw the fastest car went 8.0. I was like, cool, I could do that. So about 9:15, I loaded up for my second pass, and it closes at 10, and they were supposed to give out the money at 10 o'clock. And then I'm sitting there in the lanes, and they're throwing down some glue, and then they announced the winners. So I was kind of a little frustrated by that. I understand. It was probably 9:30, 9:40 at this point. The 8.0 car wanted to go home. They wanted their money. That is what it is. But I was a little frustrated. So instead of making that pass, I just left. I was like, I was about to make a pass because I knew that what I fixed didn't work. So I was going to make that second pass to just win that money. And then after waiting around, I did not win the money. So I just left. And I didn't really talk much about it because I was frustrated. But it is what it is. I should have ran it out the first pass. I should have been a little quicker into the lanes. Yada, yada, yada. Just frustrating. But I will be back for next street heat because now I want that money. But it was mine to win. Mine to lose. I should have just ran out that first pass. Went an 8.3 rolling. It would have been like a 7... I mean, it went 5.0 at 140 in the 8th. So it probably would have been like a 780-ish. It was cool out, so probably 780. But no $500 for me. All right, I'm gonna install this thing. All right, I am done currently. I got that all installed, and then one last thing to do. So tomorrow morning before we go race, we're going to Out for Blood. It's a no time 8th mile deal. It's not really my thing, but it's $100 to go race in their street style shootout. So I figured a bunch of my friends were racing. Might as well go race. $100. The car isn't super competitive for that. You know, I'll probably be like 2/10 off what I should be running, 3/10 off-ish. But I'm gonna go out and try it out. But one last thing that we're gonna make tomorrow. So I have this like canister here. It's like a cheesy coolant. I mean, it's fine for what it is, but it's a coolant overflow deal, whatever, reservoir. And we're going to add a bunch of fittings to it, modify it in a bunch of ways so that it's like sits up above my engine in the back. And then there's gonna be two lines. My two breather lines are gonna go in. The two breather lines are gonna come out. And then there's gonna be a drain back. So instead of all the oil just going right into my catch can, it's gonna be like a vapor catch here. So you'll be able to like separate the oil and the vapors, which will be nice because, you know, right now I put a bunch of oil in my catch can and then I have to drain it and then put new oil in the engine, and it's just stupid. So a lot of guys do this where they'll use something like this, like a little holding cell, and then, you know, it breathes out, oil goes back into the motor when I turn off the car. Done deal. So hopefully it'll help keep more oil in the engine, keep like, you know, I can throw some more power at it without just putting more oil into the catch can. Just the thing we've been working on for a while. So I got some fittings here. I'm waiting on a couple more. And then, yeah, we can go from there. It'll be kind of cool because it'll have a little drain back. The one that I added in this video that goes like that Y's in. So that'll now be a drain back. So all the oil that goes in the top and comes up from there, it'll bubble up and it'll put oil in, it'll all drain back in, and all around should be a lot better. This is what a lot of 2J guys do, and a lot of 2J guys do this because we tend to fill catch cans. But this should help and all around make the car a little happier. So not bad. And then I could probably put a bung on this too, which would be nice for a pressure sensor, which is something I've always wanted to do. Add like a pressure, like how much crankcase pressure I'm making. Ideally, you know those kind of things when you have a car like this, but I've never known it, so we're gonna go figure all this out. I should definitely get some kind of bung to put on here. Well, it's got some threads, so maybe I'll just not weld up one of them, plug it for now. I don't know. I'll film the making of this, but that's gonna do it, guys. It was kind of all over the place. I don't really know how long this video is gonna be, but check out the podcast if you want to hear more. Bogetti Studios on YouTube. I will link it somewhere here in the description below. We've had some awesome guests on, and your boy Cletus will be on Monday again. He's always fun to talk to. So I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you. Keep it saucy.